Hello and welcome to the Responsive Family Sleep Podcast. I'm your host, Kim Hawley, holistic sleep coach, lactation consultant, peaceful parenting educator, and mom. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the conflicting sleep info, frustrated with sleep information that just plain felt wrong, or searched desperately for a truly gentle and responsive sleep approach, then you are in the right place. In each episode, we'll be answering your most pressing baby and toddler sleep questions, busting those sleep myths, and helping you understand truly developmental, biologically normal baby and toddler sleep, plus encouraging you to trust your intuition along the way. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. We're going to talk about introducing solids today, and not how to do it or when or what signs to look for, though those are important things to know. But we are actually going to talk about this myth that introducing solids will improve your baby's nighttime sleep. Now, the short answer is it doesn't. So, podcast over. No, I'm kidding. We're going to explore this a bit more. But generally, introducing solids is either neutral when it comes to sleep, or it could actually temporarily make sleep worse. And I will explain why that is. So this idea, I think, comes from the fact that people assume that babies just wake because they're hungry. And if we fill them up with solids during the day, they'll sleep better at night, right? But that's actually a really simplistic view of waking and a not true view of waking, right? Because babies wake for a whole host of reasons, a whole range of reasons that they're waking. Hunger is just one of them. And there's a whole range of physical reasons, right? Hunger, thirst, discomfort, temperature changes, right? Wet diaper, like all these physical reasons they might wake. And then there's all the emotional, relational reasons that they might wake and need support, comfort, connection, co-regulation in order to relax back into sleep, in order to feel safe and relax back into sleep. So hunger is this one teeny piece. And while there is a big myth that babies over 6 months don't need night feeds, that's also total BS because the majority of older babies do feed at night still. I think it's all kind of wrapped up in this overly simplistic view of night wakes. So babies wake for more than just hunger. So solids are not this magic solution from a hunger perspective. They're also not a magic solution from a hunger perspective because generally solids are not as calorically dense as breast milk, as human milk, or as formula, right? So things like pears and apples and green beans and sweet potato and like so many of the foods that we introduce to babies are not that calorically dense. And they're important, right? There's a reason we're introducing them, but they're not these like magically super filling up foods that do such a better job of filling up babies as compared to breast milk or formula. And then, of course, babies don't generally eat a lot when they first start with solids. So they might take a little lick here, a little bite there, a little spoonful here, right? Introducing solids around 6 months when your baby's showing signs of readiness, this is as much about the exploration, the sensory experience, the practice, as it is about food actually getting into their stomach. And so what they're eating isn't necessarily super calorie dense, except for things like avocado, right? Like that's pretty calorie dense. But it's like they're not even eating that much generally at first. Like a lot of babies just are not eating that much. And that's how it's supposed to be, right? You're supposed to gradually ramp up solids. And for the first, 3 months or so, 6, 9 months, like they should not be decreasing their milk, their breast milk, their human milk, or their formula intake at all. And the majority of calories in the first year is supposed to be breast milk or formula. So that's another reason why it's not really about hunger, right? Now, if you have a baby that's reverse cycling, if you have a baby that is so busy and curious during the day that they don't pause to have good bottle feeds or good nursing sessions, or I see this sometimes with babies, it's a really common thing with babies in childcare who are like, I'll take the bare minimum, and then when I'm back with my parent, I will nurse, right? Then we get babies who nurse a lot at night and reverse cycle. And so sometimes with those babies, we can shift the calories, right? We can help encourage some of those nighttime calories back to the day. And that can decrease wakes, right? Decrease nighttime feeds and decrease wakes. But that's a very specific, though very common, situation that is not the same as introducing solids is going to help your baby sleep better. So far, a lot of what I'm saying is mostly neutral on nighttime sleep, right? Totally neutral. But I did say that solids can worsen baby sleep. So let's talk about that. Now, if you have a baby who has a really sensitive digestive system, or you have a baby who loves solids, super loves solids, the kind that you have to be really careful to almost slow them down a bit and keep them on breast milk or formula because they're like, solids are the best. This is so great. Sometimes we'll get some digestive upset as their body is getting used to digesting solid food for the first time. And so that could look like constipation. It could look like being extra gassy, right? It could just be part of that natural transition of their stool from a not eating solid food, right, to eating solid food. And they could have some discomfort. And if you have digestive discomfort, you often have more disrupted sleep. And so this is certainly not something that happens for all babies, but it's definitely something that I have seen often enough that I consider it part of the experience. So sadly, introducing solids is not going to be a magic fix for nighttime sleep. For all the reasons we've discussed, it is likely to be neutral for your baby. It potentially could cause some disrupted periods of sleep as they get used to digesting solids and are increasing their solids, and just everything in their body is kind of finding that new equilibrium. And this is all normal, right? It's all normal. And there are so many things that do impact night waking in older babies and that do help night waking in older babies. Solids, they're just not really the thing. So I hope this gives you some food for thought. And I literally was not trying to make a pun there. But I hope this gives you some things to think about and some insight. And it makes it a little bit easier to just ignore that pressure to start solids as a way to improve sleep. Because I know that parents get that pressure to make that decision before maybe baby is totally ready or you are, or just, have it framed in a way that doesn't have very realistic expectations. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode left you feeling more informed, confident, and encouraged on your sleep journey. And just a reminder before you go that nothing in this episode is individualized to your specific sleep situation, nor is it to be taken as medical advice. Take what resonates, ignore what doesn't, and check with your healthcare provider about any medical concerns. Take a moment to subscribe to this podcast so that you'll never miss an episode. And take a moment to rate, review, or share an episode you love on social media. All of that helps parents just like you find me, this podcast, and this gentle and responsive sleep information. I'll see you next time.